Welcome back to another exciting episode of Level Up with Sean Meyers, the podcast dedicated to helping you unlock your full potential and achieve your dreams. I'm your host, Sean Meyers, and I'm fired up to have you with me today for episode 14. But before we dive into today's topic, I want to take a minute to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued support and engagement. Your feedback and enthusiasm truly fuel my passion for this podcast, and I'm excited to continue this journey of growth and transformation together. Now, let's get to today's topic, which is all about finding your purpose in life. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and I believe it's one of the most significant steps you can take to level up your life. So what exactly does it mean to find your purpose? That's a great question. Let me explain. It's all about discovering the driving force behind your existence, understanding what truly makes you come alive, and aligning your actions and choices with manifesting it into existence. Today, I'm going to be sharing a couple tips with you that has helped me in the last couple years find my calling, find my meaningful mission, find my purpose in life, which gets me out of bed every single morning. It gets me excited, even on the days that I don't feel like it. And I want you to have that same feeling and that same motivation, that same inspiration, that same empowerment every single day to get out of bed and be excited about it, even when you don't feel like it. Tip number 1, self-reflection. Up until about 2 years ago, I had no clue what self-reflection was, meaning I had no clue asking myself questions, why I was making the choices and the decisions in the things that I was doing. Why did I purchase that car? Why did I purchase that house? Why did I purchase these materialistic things, right? It's because I was trying to fill something that was unfulfilled, that had a lack of purpose. So self-reflection is the number 1 tip. Now I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on this with you. This is the first tip I want to share with you on the journey to finding your purpose, which is to help engage deep self-reflection. So, Sean, what do you mean by this? So it's a great question. Let me explain. So there's a couple questions. There's 3 questions I want you to write down. So if you're on a treadmill, if you're in the car, if you're walking, then maybe you can go back and circle back around to this and listen to this episode again, because you'll always take more from it. But write these questions down. These are game changers. Take the time to ask yourself these questions. The first question, what activities make you lose track of time? Again, what activities make you lose track of time? For example, for me, working out, fitness, mentoring, podcasting, talking to you, listening to this, coaching 101, maximizing people, coffee on a Friday with my mastermind group, reading personal development books, self-mastery, learning about myself, competitions like High Rocks, Spartans. These allow me to be present in the moment, and there's nothing else in the world that can come in between me and those activities that make me lose track of time. So when I reflect on these, I need to align my vision, my meaningful mission, and my purpose with these things that I lose track of time with. So those are examples for me. What are some things for you, activities that you lose track of time, and write those down, okay? Number 2, the question, when do I feel most fulfilled? For me, for example, is coaching calls. When I impact a coachee in my coaching business or an employee in my other businesses, when I impact them and I see them, whether that's improving their personal development or them making more money, going from making $2,500 a month to 6 digits, 10 digits a month in income, or leveling them up in their health and fitness and what they eat and bringing things to their attention, shedding the light, helping them in their other areas of life, finances, right? So what do you feel most fulfilled with during the day? Another example for me is serving others, podcasting. I come alive, nothing else. My phone's on Do Not Disturb. There's nobody that's going to come into my studio and distract me from talking to you, because I want to give you my all. I want to give you my heart, soul, and energy to help serve. This is where I feel fulfilled. When people reach out to me and say, hey, Sean, you inspired me to take action. This is what you did for me. Thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for the empowerment. Thanks for shedding a light on that. That is what makes me fulfilled. So what are things that make you feel fulfilled? Write those down. Number 3, what problems in the world do you feel compelled to solve. Okay. There's problems all over the world, right? And so Tony Robbins says this: the key to happiness is serving and impacting. Write that down. The key to happiness is serving and impacting. So think about it. Think about the last time that you served, that you impacted, whether it was volunteer work or you helped a little old lady in the garage pick up, something that was heavy, or you picked up, a piece of trash, or whatever it may be. When was the last time you served and impacted? More than likely, you felt fulfilled. You felt it brought a sense of happiness and like you were serving and impacting. So number 3 is, what problems in the world do you feel compelled to solve? For me, for example, would be helping business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed that lack purpose, fulfillment. They feel lost, stuck. They're unaware of the ego, guidance, and then embracing vulnerability and asking for help. You want to hear the interesting thing? What I just mentioned was me 2 years ago. I'm qualified to talk about this because I know I was exactly, if you're listening to this and you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, self-employed that lacks purpose, or maybe maybe you're not a self-employed entrepreneur or business owner. Maybe you lack a purpose, a fulfillment. You feel lost, stuck. Listen, you're not alone. I was there 2 years ago, but there's hope. There is a way through. And that is what I want to use this podcast. That is what I want to use my message to serve and impact and give you tips and tricks and strategies to get through this. So there's a huge problem out there with business owners and entrepreneurs, self-employed, wanting to throw in the towel because they lack a purpose. They lack that vitality to get out of bed every single morning to be excited about tackling the day. If that is you listening to this, know that you're not alone and there's hope. You just need guidance. You need a coach. You need a mentor. You need a support system. You have to embrace that vulnerability and reach out when you don't feel like it. Get outside your comfort zone. Get outside of your element. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that was me 2 years ago. So that is the problem I'm trying to solve. So those are the 3 questions that you would need to write down. Some of my strengths that I've been able to leverage in solving this problem is my number 1 strengths, and you can find this on Clifton's 2.0. I'll reference this in the description as well on the podcast. My number 1 strength is an activator. That is what you want when you have a friend, a support system, a mastermind group, or a coach or mentor. You want somebody that's going to be an activator, that's going to maximize your potential. So activator, maximizer, significance, command, responsibility, all these strengths I try to leverage every single day because this is what brings me out. This is what brings me vitality, bliss, joy, happiness, and purpose, is by aligning what I do every single day, right? This podcast, by leveraging and running it parallel to my strengths. So what are your strengths? You have to self-reflect is my point. You have to go down the rabbit hole and find out what your strengths are. Use resources and tools like a Clifton 2.0, which you can find on Amazon. Again, I'll reference that in the description. So self-reflection is tip number 1. So I'll leave you with this before sharing tip number 2. These questions, the 3 questions I shared with you, they will help uncover, slow you down, and help you uncover the patterns and passions that can lead you towards your purpose. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take work. And here's the thing. Here's the sad thing about it. People that I've talked to over the years, even myself included, I know I've probably had mentors and individuals come into my life and say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, but I wasn't ready for it. It wasn't my season of life. And you know what? That's okay, but it's not if, but when. And I want to make sure that's why with this podcast and talking to coachees and friends and family and serving and impacting, if I can shed the light and uncover these patterns and passions that can help you listening to this lead you towards your purpose, game over. And then when you start taking one foot in front of the other and you start working on these tips and self-reflection and you find your purpose, that you can reach out to me and DM me and connect with me and we can run this thing together, right? Because there's nothing worse than trying to build something alone, right? It's like the Field of Dreams talks about, build it and they will come. Okay, tip number 2. Tip number 2, here it is. Embrace your unique journey. What do you mean by this, Sean? Everybody has a different journey and everybody is unique. They have their own uniqueness in their journey and their strengths and everything that they have to offer, including yourself. You have your own unique journey. You have your own purpose. You have your own value that you have to offer, right? You may be asking yourself, well, Sean, I don't have, this skill, that skill. I don't know where to start. Well, that's what tip number 1, the self-reflection allows you to do, is to dig deep and ask yourself the questions because you have value. You have something great to offer. So embrace this unique journey and know that it's part of it and finding that purpose. It's not a destination. It's never a destination. It's just a journey. Your path will not be the same as mine or as anyone else's. The person sitting next to you, the person that you're walking by on the treadmill, your mom, your dad, your cousin. It's your own unique journey. So embrace that. And just know that's perfectly okay. If you embrace that uniqueness and you don't compare yourself to me, to the world, to people you see on social media, to the neighbor, to anybody that's beside you, your purpose will become deeply personal and should reflect who you are and not who you think you should be, right? That's the key. Let me repeat that. Your purpose is deeply personal and should reflect who you are, not who you think you should be. Okay. So for example, for me personally, 2 years ago, when I embraced my unique journey, I hired a life coach back in 2021. So this was almost 2 years ago. Before this, I had never hired a coach, therapist, marriage counselor, anybody in my life. Well, if you study Tom Brady, Kevin O'Brien, if you study the greats, right? They all have coaches, counselors, therapists. They all have them. Because you know what? We're all screwed up. We all have problems. Nobody's perfect. And we all need guidance and help, myself included. So when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, felt like I was on the rat race of the life, I hired my life coach 24 months ago. When I hired the life coach, it was being able to talk, embrace the vulnerability, let my guard down. And then one of the things that he did for me was bring awareness and mindfulness and shed the light on my ego, which was driving me, which has gotten me to where I am 2 years ago, but it wouldn't get me to where I want to go. So I wasn't aware of the ego, which drives a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, and self-employed and salespeople. It drives them to success and to money, but it leaves them feeling unfulfilled, unhappy, and a lack of purpose when you're not aware of it. So I went down the rabbit hole and spent hundreds of hours, spent thousands of dollars on this life coach, and I would have paid 10x for that coach. I wouldn't have thought about it at the time, but afterwards, reflecting back, I'm so grateful that I took that leap of faith. So with hiring the life coach and asking mentors and my coach the questions, it helped guide me. I didn't know where I wanted to go. There was no destination. It was just embracing that unique journey at that point in my life. When you are going through life and you're like, man, I feel like I'm on the rat race. I feel like I'm on the hamster wheel of life. That is when you need a plunge. That is when you need a shock. That is when you need to do something out of your element, out of your comfort zone to shock the system. And what I mean by that is hiring a coach, hiring a life coach, a business coach, getting a support system, doing something to put yourself in an uncomfortable position because you're already going through your fear of suffering. There's a quote on this. Your fear of suffering is already there if your fear of actually suffering, if that makes sense. There's a quote on that. I'll have to go back and reference that. Okay, tip number 3, learn from setbacks. Man, this is a huge one. Setbacks and obstacles are part of life. They don't mean you're on the wrong path. They're just opportunities for growth and learning. When you encounter difficulties, listen to me, don't give up. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Instead, reevaluate your approach. Learn from your mistake and keep moving forward. So let me give you an example. I've had several setbacks, right? Call them what you want. Failures, learnings, setbacks. They were setbacks. I looked at them as learning opportunities now. They were failures to society's eyes. I was terminated from Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which is a place where I worked. I'm out of college for 3 years. And then I went on to the insurance industry, got hired by State Farm, was terminated from there after 3 years. I put sweat, equity, blood, energy, time, and effort. I was devastated. I was completely depressed when I was terminated multiple times within 6 years. So that was a huge setback. Did I throw in the towel and go, I'm out, I'm done. I'm not going to do anything else in this world. Just going to go sit in a closet. No, I learned from the setbacks. I learned what not to do and what to do moving forward. And I used that as leverage and as motivating and to light a fire underneath my rear end. Another example from a setback is when I was competing at a competition a few years back, my wife, it was our first competition that we had ever done. And we ate at Chick-fil-A the morning of. Now, if you're a competitor and you do any kind of working out or fitness, you don't do this. This is like a no-go. We ate a chicken biscuit with ranch, tater tots, and a huge large coffee 1 to 2 hours before we race. And you just don't do that. Looking back at it, I laugh about it because I'm like, man, what a huge setback. We both we showed up, yes, but we both did not perform very well because of that. So we learned from that setback. So we had to wait an entire 12 months to compete it again. Another one is that example, learn from another setback that I learned is employee turnover. When I was building my insurance business back in 2015, my first business, I had a high employee turnover when building the company and even the companies moving forward. And the reason I had a high employee turnover is because I was a horrible boss. I was a horrible leader. I didn't know how to lead people. And this was a huge setback. This is probably one of the biggest setbacks, right? When you have an employee that comes in for 6 months, 12 months, and you lose them, if you're a business owner, self-employed, you know that hurts because of the time, energy, and effort, and the training, and the money, everything that goes into that. That's a huge setback. So I've had several employee turnovers. Okay, so that's tip number 3 is learn from setbacks. Now, let's talk about aligning your purpose with your career and life goals. How does this align? This is where, in my opinion, the magic happens. Because when your purpose guides your decisions, ooh, that's so good, you'll find greater fulfillment and success. And that's what we all want, right? Fulfillment, purpose, success, greatness, happiness. So tip number 4, start small. A lot of this can be super overwhelming. I get it. But don't feel pressured to make that drastic career change. Start the business tomorrow, overnight. Start by incorporating your purpose after reflecting and using these tips into your current job or daily life. You can also look for opportunities that align your values. Let me give you an example. One of my core values is self-mastery. A couple of the other core values are prosperity, community, and beauty. So I'm obsessed with self-mastery, health set, heart set, prosperity, right? Community, beauty. So I align these core values with the decisions that I make and align it with my purpose and what I do on a daily basis. So obviously this gradually can transition and can lead to more significant changes over time in different seasons of life. If you have kids, get married, get a house. Okay. Tip number 5, seek support and mentorship. Finding your purpose can be challenging, like it was for me. I'm 36 now. At 34, I had still not found my purpose. God works in mysterious ways. He's not going to give you something you cannot handle. He's not going to give you something that he puts on your lap that you cannot handle. So finding your purpose can be super challenging, but you don't have to do it alone. And that's what happened to me. Learn from that mistake. I thought I could do it alone. I thought I had all the answers. Boy, was I completely wrong. So seek out a mentor. Drop your ego, or be aware of your ego. Drop, having that mentality of you know it all. Seek out mentors, seek out coaches or like-minded individuals who can provide guidance and support. It's the quickest way, in my opinion, to where you want to go. So like I said, this is what I did, referencing back my life 2 years ago. It was the most money I'd ever spent, like I'd said earlier, my entire life. And I just looked at it as a reinvestment back into myself for that first time in my life. And let me tell you something. It was the biggest return on investment I had ever made in my entire life. Now it's like every chance I get, I have a percentage of my income that I invest into myself, whether it's a book, whether it's my health and wellness, a fitness. A lot of people are like, $75 a month for a membership. That's crazy. No, it's an investment. It's all about the mindset. You should be working, I know you've heard this, you should be working harder on yourself than you do your job. But 90% of the Americans are not working on themselves. Coaches and mentors can share their experiences, like I have, offer valuable insights, guidance, and help you stay on track. Accountability, discipline, a map. If you want to see if you're a good fit, we have a program. I'll plug this in. You can always book a free minute coaching call through our website in the description of this podcast that I'll link as well. Last tip of the day, the most important tip, because without this tip, if you don't take action, then all this was for a waste. And what's the point? The most crucial step of all this is taking action. Your purpose will not come to a reality if you do not actively work towards it. I don't think I would have ever gotten where I am today if I would have never taken action and reached out, made that phone call, did my research, looked at Google reviews, and hired that life coach. Gave him my credit card and spend the money, which was I would have paid 10x. Before, I was like, I don't want to lose that money because I never reinvested myself. But taking action is what allowed me to spread my wings. So set clear goals, create a plan, and take consistent steps towards aligning your life with your purpose. Remember, small actions can lead to significant transformations. Now, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this powerful thought. Finding your purpose is a lifelong journey, and it's okay to evolve and adapt along the way. Your purpose may change or become more refined as you grow, and that's the beautiful part of the process. I encourage each one of you to take the first step on this incredible journey. Embrace self-reflection, stay consistent in the face of setbacks, and align your purpose with your career and life goals. Thank you for joining me on today's Level Up with Sean Meyers. I hope this episode has inspired and empowered you to take action towards finding your purpose. Remember, your potential is limitless, and I believe in you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. I'm going to spend a second on this. As of today, I don't do paid advertising. I don't do marketing advertisements. So if leaving a review of any value that you have received from this, or sharing it with a business owner, self-employed or entrepreneur, or family or friend or mom or dad or cousin, somebody that needs to hear this, this is what allows us to serve and impact more people and get the word out there. So together we can create a community of purpose-driven individuals committed to leveling up their lives. Until next time, keep leveling up, and remember, your purpose is out there waiting for you to discover it. Take that first step today.